Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Panthers Pro Bowler wants trade, Steelers top destination. Carolina Panthers wide receiver Adam Thielen expects to return in Week 10, but the Panthers could trade the two-time Pro Bowler before he makes it back to the field. A former undrafted free agent, Thielen spent the 2010s establishing himself as one of the league's more reliable set of hands with the Minnesota Vikings. While he's no longer the 1,300-yard force he was at the peak of his career, he can still be an effective player in the right system. Last year, Thielen recorded 103 receptions for 1,014 yards and 4 touchdowns as the only reliable part of Carolina's passing attack. While he has played well when healthy, the Panthers don't need him anymore. At 2-7, the season is effectively over and head coach Dave Canales wants to see what he has in promising first-round pick Xavier Legette, undrafted free agent Jalen Coker, and fourth-round pick Jatavian Sanders. For what it's worth, Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer reports Adam Thielen would welcome a trade to a contender, as the aging wideout wants to spend his final years fighting for a title. Looking around the league, the Pittsburgh Steelers make the most sense as a potential destination. The Pittsburgh Steelers always find a way to tread water under head coach Mike Tomlin, but this is the first time in years they've been a serious threat in the AFC. Ever since Ben Roethlisberger suffered his elbow injury in early 2019, the Steelers have struggled to find an answer at the quarterback position. Whether it was Mason Rudolph, a washed-up Roethlisberger, or first-round pick Kenny Pickett, Pittsburgh could not figure out the quarterback position. That changed in 2024, and the team is once again near the top of the AFC. Justin Fields and Russell Wilson are not in the MVP race by any stretch of the imagination, but these two are providing the Steelers with competent quarterback play. With these two supporting a strong defense, the Steelers lead the AFC North with an impressive 6-2 record. However, they should add another wide receiver to hold off the high-flying Baltimore Ravens. George Pickens is remarkably talented, but the same cannot be said for Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin, and Scotty Miller. Adam Thielen might not be the player he once was, but the trade target should be the second-best option on the depth chart, assuming he truly is healthy. The Steelers need Adam Thielen, but what would a trade look like? So far, it's been a buyer's market, with players like DeAndre Hopkins and Deontay Johnson receiving minimal returns in trades. Thielen can still help a team, but he's well past his prime and is coming off a multi-week injury. Seeing as the Panthers could only get a fifth-round pick for Johnson and their sixth-round selection, Thielen probably won't net more than a sixth or seventh-round pick. For such a minimal return, the Panthers might prefer to keep Thielen around. Adam Thielen is under contract for one more season, and the Panthers will try and compete in 2025. With Legette and Coker showing promise, Thielen could round out the depth chart and give Carolina's next quarterback 3 reliable sets of hands. Assuming Pittsburgh doesn't overpay for his services, Carolina would probably prefer to retain the two-time Pro Bowler. If they do trade Adam Thielen, it will probably be as a personal favor to a player who has been one of the few bright spots of the last 2 years. Did Ravens beat Steelers in trade deadline arms race? Over the past week or so, both the Steelers and the Ravens bolstered offense and defense via trade. The Steelers added W.R. Mike Williams, while the Ravens acquired W.R. Deontay Johnson. Defensively, the Ravens added C.B. Tre'Davious White, the Steelers deepening their pass rush with Preston Smith. My guess is the vast majority will agree that the Ravens helped themselves more than the Steelers did. While White is no longer the Pro Bowler he once was, he is still a starter, while Smith is depth for the Steelers. And the Ravens needed more secondary help than the Steelers needed edge rush depth. One can easily argue that Deontay Johnson is a better, and healthier, wide receiver than Mike Williams. And the Steelers were in much more desperate need of receivers than the Ravens were. While the Steelers are coming off a good offensive run, the Ravens already had a superior offense. Then again, perhaps the Steelers' deeper need at wide receiver is the key. Though he hasn't torn up the league this year, Mike Williams can make a legitimate difference. Deontay Johnson is just another weapon in a potent and diverse offense. They already had Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, and Derrick Henry, not to mention Lamar Jackson. The Steelers and Ravens will square off for the first time this season in a couple weeks. By then, both parties should have all their new pieces up and running. Regardless of who may have gotten better than the other, though, the Steelers do have recent success against the Ravens. Even when the Ravens had clearly better teams, they managed to find ways to win. And now the Steelers have their best offensive nucleus in 5 or 6 years. Plus, never discount the value of a fresh pass rush. To have Nick Herbig and Preston Smith in the game while TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith are catching their breath is an unexplored advantage the Steelers are probably pretty excited about. Steelers turn heads with trade for veteran edge rusher. Pundits expected the Pittsburgh Steelers to acquire a wide receiver before the NFL trade deadline. They did that, sending a 5th-round pick to the New York Jets for Mike Williams. But the Steelers weren't finished trading on November 5. ESPN's Adam Schefter reported that hours before the NFL trade deadline, the Steelers also acquired veteran edge rusher Preston Smith from the Green Bay Packers. The Athletic's Matt Schneidman reported the Steelers gave up a 2025 7th round for Smith. The move shocked some Steelers media and fans, who expressed that surprise on social media on November 5. "Whoa. Didn't see that one coming," wrote Steelers Depot's Alex Kozora. NFL insider John McMullen also tweeted that he didn't see the Steelers acquiring Smith. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette's Christopher Carter conveyed his surprise through a GIF. He then added Smith will be a 4th edge rusher, so the team can better handle injury for the rest of 2024. The Pat McAfee show's A.J. Hawk referred to Smith as a really good pass rusher. "I'm curious to see what the compensation might be. I would imagine that you have to give up something decent," said Hawk. "But actually, no, you probably don't. You probably don't. In the world now, you trade for great players, and you don't have to give up too much, I guess." Hawk's reaction came before the report that the Steelers gave up just a 7th-round choice for Smith. With Smith, the Steelers are bringing in a 10-year veteran to support what was already one of the best edge rushing groups in the NFL. Smith began his career as a 2nd-round pick for the then Washington Redskins in the 2015 NFL Draft. Over his first 4 seasons in Washington, he posted a pair of 8-sack campaigns in 2015 and 2017. He then reached new career highs with 12 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, and 23 quarterback hits during his first season with the Packers in 2019. He had at least 8 sacks in 4 of his first 5 seasons with the team from 2019 to 23. Last year, Smith registered 8 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 21 quarterback hits, 4 pass defenses, and 2 forced fumbles. He's not experiencing one of his best seasons this fall, but landing Smith for only a 7th-round pick is still a steal. Smith recorded 2.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 4 quarterback hits in 9 games with Green Bay this season. Once all of the team's best edge rushers are healthy, Preston Smith will likely serve as Pittsburgh's number 4 edge rusher. If Smith dresses in Week 10, that could happen on November 10th. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Preston Smith? Leave your opinion in the comments.